It's just unbelievable what's going on. This is really going on.
So I'm really much more interested in the psychological realm rather than the. I mean, they're interrelated.
Why are you more interested in the psychological realm than the spiritual?
Because I guess I feel as though I can manipulate the psychological and the physical realm more easily than I can manipulate the spiritual realm. The best picture I have is like a dark sea, all right? And it's really kind of choppy, but not so choppy that you'd be scared by it. But it's wild, but it's tolerable, right?
Uh-huh.
And you have the sea, right? And it's black. Maybe the consciousness we can imagine even is light, all right? So, and usually that's like a two-way street. It's either this or this, right? But these things, every once in a while, come up out of the unconscious into your consciousness, unknown to you, right? And so you have to then come up with a way of dealing with that happening to you. And one way that people deal with it is through personal belief patterns and rituals in their own life. What you can do with your personal psyche and yourself is to get, when one of those things emanates into your personal unconscious.
One of those things?
Whatever it is that comes up out of the unconscious. Okay. An archetype or whatever. I don't know, you know. Something comes up, like this election thing happened, right? But that's in our big consciousness. But things like that happen in your personal consciousness too. And you can then try and, if you try and define that thing, that is, pull it from the unconsciousness into the conscious, and then constellate, that is, put an arrangement of archetypes together and form a self and differentiate from the two divisions.
How does that relate to this?
But there's also a societal unconscious level, which is some combination of all of these selves and undeveloped selves that are around, right? And so something like this election is an emanation from the unconscious, because who would have thought, you know? And that's what, like, all these monks and all the priestess and all these people were trying to do, was to get the gods to do something, right? So I see that
do something.
They were trying to get emanations up out of the unconscious somehow by doing ritual acts, all right? And that's what a mantra is. What I would like to do, right, is to try and constellate now, define what archetypes are in this thing that's emanated from the unconscious. Just like so that we can define it in our society's psyche, right? Now the collective consciousness, not the collective unconsciousness. This is a collective consciousness, a physical realm, so in a way that will individuate, right, on a societal level. So
you're a uniter, not a divider.
Right.
That's what George Bush is saying.
Yeah, but he's bullshitting.
This is the real thing.
This is not bullshit. That's the difference.
What's the next step?
We need to decide what is the next archetype to constellate with this one. So first we need to define what this one is, right? Okay. So what happened here? This is the twins, is how I see this archetype. You have Bush and Gore inexorably linked together. They're like night and day, right? They are the only two choices. They're the syzygy. You can't have one without the other, right? That's what Ralph Nader learned that, right? Well, we'll get to Ralph Nader in a second, what he is. He's the... We'll get to that. Anyway, so here they are, linked together, like a yin-yang, or however you have to symbolize that in your mind. That works too, right? That works too.
Actually, it's like this.
Yeah, pretty much. They're the twins, the syzygy, because one without the other one ceases to be, right? Then the thing is gone. They're no longer the candidate, they're something else, right? But right now they're locked in this syzygistic pair and they can't get out of it. They're waiting for something else to happen, right? They're waiting for someone to do something, a judge to hit it with a gavel, God knows what.
So as you were saying about that Gore-Bush thing, that now, forget about let's even go beyond and forget about the actual people that did it.
Right, okay.
You can go beyond their particular interpretation of why they're doing it.
Right.
And let's just look at it from a totally universal viewpoint, right?
Right, the spiritual aspect of this.
Yeah, so
right?
what...
Separate from Osama bin Laden,
Right.
George Bush, and, well, can't really be separate from you and I, but...
So what would that event be? A catalyst of change, a revolution of consciousness?
Well, it's enlightenment usually comes, right? A lot of times it's like been this sudden insight like that, right?
Right, they say that there's
So
two...
the suddenness of it.
They say there's two kinds, gradual and sudden. And sometimes they say the gradual is in the sudden's in the gradual. You know? So definitely, but what's the insight? You know, the patriotism and all that, macho, we're going to kick ass, I don't think that's necessarily insight. You know, that's just a reaction. We all feel that. We want to protect ourselves. But
Yeah, anger is a natural response, right? I mean, they were making the point, I think, on NPR, that it kind of gave people a new sense of what the government was, or is. And that, you know, we kind of had a passing thing, you know, oh, they're always inept, they're always having sex scandals, you know, they're really just in it for themselves. They made the point, though, that there seems to be a difference between the national level, the way regard in which we hold the national government, and the local now being represented by all the police and the firefighters and things like that. You know, there I think we might have like a kind of maybe renewed respect for the job that they're doing. I mean, the police have really been taking the shit lately, and rightly so, you know, but there is an aspect of the police department that isn't about sticking poles up someone's ass and beating people up with flashlights. There is an aspect that the police do provide to our society that's kind of gotten smeared over. We still have to try and do them at these transformative events on every level. I mean, personally, I think everyone who saw this and was affected by it should pick one aspect of their life that they have been wanting to change for a long time. Maybe you want to quit smoking, maybe you want, maybe something a little more emotional. You know, like the way you treat a certain person.
what would you pick?
I haven't thought about that yet. I'm still thinking about that. I need to dwell on it, because I use these things, I mean, it's an important aspect of my personal spirituality, so I'm not ready to talk about that yet. But I'd like to suggest that to people, that you maybe find one thing, and kind of out of a very personal respect. I mean, not lighting candles is good, and putting up flags is good, but if you can take this thing and change one thing in your life positively, and every time you want to go and go back on that, you stop and you think, no, you know, these thousands of people's lives are what I pledged for this. Then I think that's how we can start using events like this to change on a global level. Because if you can't change people individually, you can't change globally. It's something you can do.
Right.
You know, you can't say there's not going to be any more terrorists and we're not going to support any more right-wing death squads. You can't personally, right? You and I can't really do that. That's something, you know, not without great struggle in any case. But that kind of thing in your own life, you can do that. So I think that's a good tribute. That's my plan of a tribute anyway.
It's just unbelievable what's going on. This is really going on.